Welcome back to the channel. And no, this is not deja vu. This is my second 2022 Austin-built Model Y, also in basic white with no options. So let's see how this one compares to the turd that I just sold. If you watched my last video, you saw how big of a mess the last Y was. So a quick backstory of how I ended up with these two cars. About 14 months ago, I ordered the first car, and 2 months later, I ordered the second car. And my goal, at the time, the market was still booming really well, so I figured I'll drive the first one for a couple months, then just sell it, take delivery of the second one, drive it for a few months and sell it, and then kind of be done with these. That'll check it off my list of a car that I've had and move on to something else. But in the ensuing 14 months, the market has turned a bit. People aren't buying these as much as they were because we're heading into the end of the year, and the new federal tax credits are coming into effect next year, so people are waiting on taking delivery. So even within the past few weeks, the values of these have dropped several $1,000s. So instead of me driving it a couple months, it's going to be a turn and burn before I end up losing much money on this. So about a month ago, my first order came up for delivery. So I ended up taking delivery of that car. And then about a week later, I got a VIN number for this order. So I ended up unlinking my VIN and putting the car on hold, which kicked it out a couple more weeks. So that gave me enough time to get the title in the mail, get it listed and sold. And then I was able to meet the guy that bought that car close to the delivery center, and then I just Ubered over and picked up this one. So it was a pretty efficient swap of cars. So now, like I said, the market is turning quickly, so unfortunately I'm not going to keep this car very long. It's going to be a turn and burn so I don't end up losing too much money or time with this. So now if we take a look at this car, we'll do kind of a comparison of how good this car is compared to the other one. And if we start on the exterior and do a walk around, unfortunately the paint is still a very low point on these cars. Hopefully you can see it in the camera, but like the last one, the front half of the car from there forward is kind of a gray white, and from there back is more of a bright white. I don't know why that is. I can't figure it out because everything, all of the body panels travel down the line at the same time, and every other white Model Y that was on the lot when I picked this up is the same way. So I can't explain it. And also in the sunlight, this white pearl is extremely blotchy. It looks good at night here, or dusk, and in the shade, but especially the front of the bumper, like right across the top of the bumper here in the sun, is extremely blotchy. So the paint guys definitely need some improvements. But if we look at another issue, so the other Model Y, if you recall, had a big glob of seam sealer over here. This one does not, and there isn't one on the other on the other side of the A-pillar. So that's better. The next issue that the other car had, this rear window was so badly out of alignment that this window was hitting the quarter glass when you closed it. You can see we've got a nice gap over here. Everything looks good out here. And the next issue on the other car was the really bad alignment on the hatch. But this one is even. It's not over flush like the other one was. So we've got even gaps down the side. We've got nice even hatch. This one isn't sitting crooked like the other one. So they definitely improved that. The PDI guys actually took some amount of effort on this car. So when I picked it up, it was clean. It had some dressing on the tires, unlike the other one. The other one really just looked like they had drug it out of the back lot and stuck a temp tag on it and send it. And one thing that you'll notice, so in the news lately, there's been a lot of talk of the ultrasonic sensors going away. So this was probably one of the last cars to be built that still has the parking sensors. So they're phasing that out currently. Now let's take a look at the inside and see how it compares to the other one. Again, it's pretty much the same exact car, white five seat with a black interior. Now this one, unlike the other car, the instrument panel does not have a big dip in it. The B-pillar trim fits like it should. It doesn't have a bunch of dirty handprints across the top. I haven't found any loose screws rolling around. And the center console lid, it doesn't have a big nasty piece of flash on the bottom that keeps catching on this bottom piece of the lid. But yeah, there's really nothing to complain about on the interior of this one. The build quality is really good. And in general, this whole car, even though it was only built a few weeks after the last one, it's a night and day difference in the quality of this car versus the last one. I've pointed out all of these issues, but even just driving it, this one is solid as a rock. There's no squeaks, creaks, rattles anywhere, where the other one, it seemed like just everything was creaking. The rear cargo cover rattled constantly. Even this one has less wind noise than the other one. The first one, it had a lot of wind noise coming up around the top of the windshield. This one doesn't have that. So I don't know what happened with that car. A colleague of mine is a design engineer at Tesla, and I texted him a bunch of videos and pictures of that car, and he's just like, oh man, that's really embarrassing. But yeah, this one's much better. But while I was talking to him, I said, okay, here's a couple of design ideas. How about you add a sunglass holder somewhere, like right there where most people put it. And then also maybe rework the cup holder a little bit. If you have a Yeti in here, it does that if you're not on a smooth road. So if you take a look at the cup holder, it has a rubber insert in here, but the hard silver trim on top actually sticks in farther than the rubber. So if you have a cup in here, it hits the hard plastic before it hits the rubber. You just need to, well, you do a couple things. You could add little rubber bumpers on the inside that grab the cup so it doesn't move to start with, or you just kind of trim that back a little farther so it actually hits the rubber instead of the hard plastic. But that's a minor thing. You just rest your hand on it and then it doesn't do it. But yeah, it's kind of a shame. It's kind of a shame that this car is so good but came so late, because I actually enjoy driving this car and I wouldn't mind keeping it for a few months. But unfortunately, with the market turning as quickly as it is, I'm not going to be the one to go down with the ship. So it's unfortunately going to have to go on its way. But Tesla is definitely improving. Quality it's coming around. You get a turd every now and then, but then you get good ones like this. So I appreciate you watching this video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And pretty soon my garage will be empty and I'll be working on the Volkswagen as well as my Lincoln seat project. And I still have the BMW X6M seat to finish up. So check back to see those videos. Thanks for watching.